Hey everyone, this is Red and my partner Lori, and this is the Marketing Material Handling Webcast. Lori, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Red. You doing good?
I'm doing very well. And who's our guest for today?
So we're bringing on Michaela Nejaime, and she's from True Video. Hi, Michaela.
Hi.
So Michaela and I got to meet probably almost a year ago.
It's our
Through
anniversary.
I know.
Oh,
yeah,
so really?
yeah, probably like COVID even brought us together right at the onset of COVID. So yeah, I agree with that. But so I'm excited to introduce everybody else to Michaela in True Video. And I thought that we would kick off with Michaela really just sharing some of your background and what your role is at True Video.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys again for having me. I'm really happy to be here and to talk with the both of you. My background, just finding my way to True Video. I come from an automotive family. I've been exposed to the automotive industry my whole life. I ended up working in technical IT out of college, and then learned about technical consulting out of college, and then learned about this opportunity at True Video and got very excited and wanted to join what we had going on over here. So that's really how I found my way. And now I work in sales, working with our heavy trucking and heavy equipment customers.
Gotcha. So when you go to True Video's site, it's very obviously heavy automotive, which is your background. Excuse me, you guys. But somehow you found your way to this crazy world of material handling. So how did you get connected to material handling?
Yes, it was a little bit of a happy accident. So it worked out for the best. It led me to you, Lori, and now Red. So I'm excited about that. It was really kind of at the turn of COVID where we were, everybody was kind of beginning to go into lockdown. There were some states that had, some states that hadn't, and this was really where there were some consistencies across the country. And it began really with dealers reaching out to us to capture every opportunity they had in service. And so we were very busy working on that front. And I got a call one day from a material handling dealer in Tulsa, Oklahoma, who said, listen, one of my guys accidentally got a video from the dealership down the street. He clicked on the link, which you're usually just not supposed to do when you get a random text message, but we did. And it ended up being a sales video powered by True Video. And it got me thinking that this could work for us in our business, in service and sales. And I wanted to see if you could show me how it works. So
nice.
That's how that happened.
So what was the video showing? Like what piqued their interest?
Yeah, so it was a personalized sales video, actually. So it was a salesperson who had been responding to an internet inquiry on one of their vehicles. And so it was the salesperson starting with a selfie, introducing themselves, saying, hi, so-and-so, thanks so much for inquiring about this vehicle. I'm excited to take you through some of the things you mentioned you're interested in. And it was just simply a personalized video showing that customer that inquired about that car that it was on site. It looked how it looked online, eliminated any cosmetic concerns. A lot of times that happens with concerns around pictures, on the internet. And so ultimately that ended up going to the wrong person. So I hope whoever that is still got their video.
Can we actually backtrack before proceeding to how this is working for material handling? Can you get more of what is True Video? What does it do? What is it? Is it a platform? Is it a lead generation? Can you give us a more brief, a longer description of what it is, and what is it for? Who is it for? And what does it do?
Yes, absolutely. So we're a video first communication platform. And we say video first because we have been focusing on perfecting this video communication from inception. And so in addition to the video capability, we are a two-way texting platform that allows for communication, both in sales with prospective customers and in service with our service customers and our service departments. And so we were really founded on the basis of executing trust with our customers. We were co-founded by a dealer principal who's sensitive to the challenges in service within, we found that these challenges are certainly not unique to the automotive industry. Anybody that's providing a service really wants to execute trustworthy and transparent communication, because we've learned that customer experience really does live within the communication itself. And so that's been hugely impactful to continue to have our dealers utilizing this and learning from them. So before we even became a company, Red, we tested this off on 500 technicians across 50 dealerships. And so technicians were very vocal with us about what they liked and didn't like about the
because I was thinking,
platform.
what makes this different from iPhone FaceTime? Like if you're a customer, you brought your car here, I can just FaceTime you and say, Mr. Customer, here, I'm in front of your car. We're using my iPhone or whatever phone and or even Zoom or Teams. You can do that over the phone. What makes your service different from this? Why would I engage with you guys when I can just use my phone for the purpose of trust?
Absolutely. I love that question, Red. Thank you so much. There's a few points I'd like to make. So all those interactions that you just listed are live communications. So they require you to be present, and they require your end customer to be present for that execution. For example, if you dropped your car off and then somebody picked you up and you ended up having to go to a meeting at work, are you going to be picking up the phone to FaceTime your technician?
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
You've got the opportunity now. We call this the at your leisure experience. And that's because texting is the number one app used on our phone today. We've got very few unread text messages, and we have a lot of unread emails. So we talk about that a lot. And so in addition to, texting being the number one app used on our phone, mobile cameras have better cameras than movie cameras did 10 years ago. And between 5G and Wi-Fi, streaming a video from wherever you are is easier than ever. So the reason I mention that is we're not teaching our customers to do anything new when it comes to texting and consuming video. That's how we're all receiving our information today. And so with that communication, like you mentioned, you could be sitting in a meeting, you receive that video, you now understand what's going on with your car, what you need and why, and you can authorize that work without having to pick up your phone or communicate with anybody verbally.
Yeah, and you know what else I like too about it, Red, because I'm thinking, we'll just stick with the automotive piece, right? You take your car in, you take it in for one thing, maybe it's even an oil change, and somebody comes back to you and says, oh, well, I saw this and I saw this, and your head's just spinning because you haven't seen what they have seen under the hood or underneath the car, and you're not even sure if they're telling you the truth. I mean, that's just the part of being like leery of everything, right? And from the female perspective, are they taking advantage of me as a female? So now if I get a text and this video is there for me, I can watch it once, I can watch it twice, I can watch it with somebody else, right? I can really kind of almost educate myself before I commit to the quote. So I think that and I've even heard it, I think after I told somebody about True Video, Michaela, somebody said, I had a plumber come out and I had no idea what they were asking me to pay for, but he showed me a video and I totally got why I needed to replace it. And there just was something there to trusting the contractor a bit more.
I get the concept. My question was like, what is the difference because you can record videos on your phone and also text that, so you can still do that.
Totally.
So go ahead.
No, I'm happy to share with you a little bit more from the technical perspective. So our platform is completely web-based. And so the video is actually being taken through the True Video app. And to your point, Red, There's compression technology within the app. So when you typically take a photo or a video, it has to be compressed, and it's a pretty large file. So if you send from an Android to an iPhone or vice versa, the image can be pixelated. You have to download it and upload it and attach it. What happens here is that compression happens within the app to ensure that regardless of the phone taking the video, regardless of the phone receiving it, everybody gets a really nice high definition image, and we're no longer storing files on our computers and having to attach them.
And you've got it there for the history. Yeah, I do like the history piece of it too. So question comes up 6 months later and you can go back and refer to the video. You really think about it from a material handling piece. What does a rental look like? What does the used truck look like that you're showing? And really being able to show that it's the same piece that arrived at somebody's door is nice as well.
Not to mention, it's all date and timestamp, Lori. So to your point, in my experience with all the folks in the material handling space, is just challenges around damage discrepancies and holding, the appropriate parties accountable, right? You can end up with great relationships, and then 8 weeks later, they're saying, we did that damage and it was like that when they picked it up. And it makes, 8 weeks of rapport that we just spent building this great relationship, trying to hold this customer accountable for damages that they may or may not have incurred. And so we've seen that the date and timestamp. So a video execution that's been really great is that precondition video. How did it look on the day and time before the customer began using that piece of equipment, and how did it look when we picked it up?
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking for in terms of what it can be used for. Is like that, like this is what it looks like. Then you cannot really complain about damage when I showed you on the video. Can this integrate onto? Well, before that question, is this per the license? Is it per sales rep, or how does it work? How does the True Video platform work for a customer?
Yes, it's in our kind of standard subscription. We're a month-to-month subscription. So again, being co-founded by a dealer, he never liked anybody who locked him in for more than a month.
No,
right.
I hate that.
No long-term contracts there. And so it's typically a rooftop subscription. So within that subscription, we would include, in your case, sales, service, and rental under a reoccurring monthly subscription.
Is it per user, the fees per user, or is it like a 10, 20, 30 tiered kind of like subscriptions?
Yeah, it's a per location account. However, actually in working with your space, so there's no limit to the users within that umbrella of that rooftop. However, in working in your space, I have run into some dealers who do a lot of central dispatching. So although they have a lot of locations, they'd want to work out of one or two dashboards. And so we have found that sometimes the per user cost model can be more helpful in situations like I just mentioned.
Okay, so I kind of now understand. So my second question, does it integrate to CRMs?
We have integration. So we have an open API, so it allows us to integrate with various systems. We do so across a number of industries now. A lot of times we end up at the mercy of some of the other systems we're running into, whether or not they can easily integrate with other softwares.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Because now I think for this to work and for this to be different, and I know it's working. You have customers, you have lots of people. It's working. I'm just talking about for my selfish reason. How it's going to work for us is it has to first integrate into CRM, because we're going to use it for let's say delivery of forklifts, then we can tie it up to like in the CRM, like equipment, like deliveries. So yeah, just wanted to know that. And I think that's it's gonna work for us, is like that, to use it as for delivery is what I'm saying. Sorry.
Yeah, how do you utilize the CRM today as far as delivery and logging
So,
communication with the customer?
so our workflow starts from when we get the lead all the way up to when we deliver the forklift. So that all goes to the CRM, and in the CRM there are notes that I think we can attach these videos into those notes of that particular order. That when Lori said that, oh, 6 months from now we can look and see what happened to this order. If it's attached to notes, we use Microsoft Dynamics. If we can attach that video into that sale of that particular equipment, then it's easy to go back and look. Because if we're just gonna use it to show video, like we said, we can just use our phones to do that.
Right.
So I think for it to work for Lifto's part is for that integration. So
Absolutely. Well, from a cost saving perspective, Red, because at times some of the integrations can be costly, even for our dealers who are choosing to want to integrate with True Video. What's nice is we do have a copy button right within the system, so you can take that link that you took for the customer and paste it
mhm.
right into the notes of the
Oh, that's
CRM.
very nice.
Yeah, yeah,
So
That's a
yeah.
good
That's the
idea.
same. That's what we do for our parts online parts sales. Is we just copy like this magic link and put it in the notes, and that's attached to that order. So we can do that for in terms of like banking that information into that order. So Lori, go
absolutely.
ahead.
Well, I have a question for you, Red, because I know that you really enjoy video. It's, something that you have a talent at doing, but I'm curious today how you incorporate video into your marketing scheme. What is it that you think works
Mhm.
in this particular industry?
For right now, and I was telling Michaela before we went live before we recorded was I was doing some initiatives on the current still in Canada current like COVID environment, and I'm
Mhm.
wondering if I can still use this when it already opens up. But for
Mhm.
now, what we're doing is our walk around videos.
Okay.
This because we're doing virtual delivery for all our equipments, and we're doing walk around videos. So in right now, that's what I'm using video for. In terms of how I think video will help marketing, YouTube is the best marketing. If you can produce videos that people are searching for and they find you and they find information for you, I think that's a great marketing.
Mhm.
Um, So I don't know. Michaela can give us some tips on how to use videos
Yeah,
for
I'm
marketing. Like
curious.
our topic says generating new business through video.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think that's probably where I have the most fun. Lori might remember this from our time together, is just talking about areas in which video can impact. And I think just in learning from our dealers that it seems infinite at this point with the
Mhm.
new ideas that I see getting utilized. On the sales side, for example, because we are working in several different markets. I can give you an example from a new business generation perspective is our RV sales videos are
Mhm.
by far the most watched, the most consumed by for each video. So on average, an RV video is watched 15 times. And we track the amount of the day and time it's been opened, the day and time it's been viewed, and the unique IP addresses associated with that. So the reason I mention that is because although they're being watched on average 15 times, they're also being watched by 5 unique IP addresses
Nice.
each of those
Mhm.
times. And so what
Mhm.
happens is on our link red, whoever our dealer is that's utilizing us, their branding is on that link. So it's watermarked on the video, it's up at the top in the logo. So the reason I simply say that is, for you, for example, your logo would end up in the hands of 5 different people for one video. And that's
Mhm.
kind of that more transactional experience, that one-to-one experience versus the one-to-many. So that was an example that just as far as just the reach of one personalized sales video.
What is the content under the video, and how is it distributed to the consumer?
Absolutely. So, an example could be you inquired about a unit online
Mm-hmm.
and you spoke with me as the salesperson and you highlighted a couple of key pieces that were interesting to you. That would allow me to go out and take a video. And what's nice is there's a tremendous amount of authenticity in these personalized videos. You're building rapport with someone that you haven't even had an opportunity to meet, but you've seen their voice. You've seen their voice. You've heard their voice. You've
Yeah.
seen their face. You've
Yeah.
had this kind of engagement, and it is not this, Martin Scorsese directed film. It's a person on their phone just helping, trying to create a good experience for you. So the way, if you submitted a lead online, they can highlight that unit that you inquired about, and that can be sent to you via text message to stream that link from your mobile phone.
So we have to get the phone number of the customer to be able to send that, right? Can we also email?
Absolutely.
Okay, because our forms, the phone number is not a, or is it? No, no, it is. But sometimes they put like office numbers instead of text numbers,
Right.
so
Yeah.
it has to be mobile that we specify there. And now, what's your success rate in terms of like sales reps doing this? Because the concept is good, but some sales reps, especially, okay, I'm gonna remove that especially, but some sales reps are um, camera shy. They don't want to they don't want to, not even if they're facing the camera, they don't want to do videos. So how, is there a method, is there a strategy, and what's the success rate of engagement from sales, service, and the user in general?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Red. Adoption looks different everywhere. It's not,
Mhm.
there is no, magic that says, yep, everybody's taking video. So what we've been
Right.
able to do is in our onboarding process is really take a nurturing approach to what that's like. Change management is challenging everywhere. Doesn't matter. You incorporate a new software, and there's always going to be a little bit of rub, if you will,
Mhm.
just for the change itself. A lot of what we talk about in our trainings that are one-on-one or one to a few of the team members is just really talking about the impact of video and how that can improve their customers' experience with them, their ability to extend their reach. If that customer is not local, the impact that video can make from that perspective. Not to mention the engagement. So, like I had mentioned earlier, when you send a photo to a customer through your phone today, or you call them and leave a voicemail, you have no idea whether or not they've engaged with any of the information you've sent them. So, as a salesperson, if I see that my video has been watched 5 times, I think I'd probably be a little more um, open to calling that customer as a cold
Right.
call versus
Right.
if I wasn't even sure if they were still interested. So there's a couple of benefits on the sales side. I would absolutely never force anybody to start in selfie mode if they didn't
Mhm.
Right.
want to.
It's a
Um,
good point.
but ultimately, Red, what happens is the guidance is really just you are talking. Um, Holding up your phone the way that you would if your customer was standing right next to you, because that's ultimately the experience that you're creating for them with that video.
hmm You know
Mhm.
what we've gotten a lot of request for, and it differentiates itself through equipment, but especially large capacity, specialty equipment, things with attachments is apparently a big thing. People want to see if they work, how they work. Um, and
Oh,
so they've
very
been asking for
interesting.
that. Yeah, that's been the latest and greatest. And it was, it was one of those slow transitions where, well, let's do this by picture, right? And then you send the picture through the text, and that's good. But to actually see something in motion, and let's say that it even doesn't sound right. You're selling it as is. Somebody intends to fix it up themselves. They can hear it. They can see what it does, and we've been pretty successful in just tiny little clips of videos, and it tends to be a trend. And so
Hmm.
what that's pushing us to do is to say, well, let's stop spending as much time only taking photos, right? You always need a good photo. There's a flyer to create, a social media post to do. But while we're doing that, let's take a few video clips too and just have it uploaded into the library, because people are going to ask for the footage. And
Absolutely.
who wants to,
Absolutely.
you know how much time, Red, that we spend moving
Yeah,
trucks and positioning them, and
yeah,
just
yeah.
just do it up front.
I have a person that is on staff right now producing videos. It's not
Mm,
easy. It takes a lot of time and preparation, and even trying to find the equipment. Where is it? Is it in that
right.
branch? Is it there? Coordinating all of that. But if we're more making it more of like this, more like organic kind of videos, like here's an attachment, this is where you turn this on, this is where you pull the thing and all of that, and not
Yeah.
really like that like produce kind of video. It's easier to produce, and it's there in a bank. I can see this for us at Lifto working for our we have a website called usetoyotalift.com. So all our used forklifts for the Lifto group is in that website. There are pictures there. But what
Hmm.
I'm thinking is, let's say a customer likes that particular forklift, our reps can do a true video of that equipment to send to the customers, because for
Yeah.
used equipments, these are used, right? So you, like, I was buying a bike from BC like last night, and the guy, like, we did a like a walk around with his phones so that I can see the bike how it looks at. So I'm thinking for our used forklifts can be the same. Our
Could
customers
be.
don't need to go; they can just, our sales rep can just do the true video
Yep.
and show him the used forklift, because used is very, there's a lot of like factors in buying a used forklift. So I can see it working for that.
Yeah.
um
Well, the
so
biggest thing
yeah.
about used, and I think that's really the biggest market. I don't know if that's kind of a hot take for me to say, but I mean, it's really, that's where I've seen the biggest customer impact, truthfully,
Mm,
is in the used market, because of the fact that it's already known that there may be some cosmetic,
yeah.
issues going on, or there might be some concerns, and those end up, and I'd imagine, I know you guys can speak to this, holding up that process, because they need to get their eyes on it. They need to see, how bad does it really look?
Hmm.
How does that
How
really
good.
sound? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Excuse me. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. This is, my service brain is going right now. How
Right.
bad does that
Yeah,
really look?
Broken.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's broken. It's broken. It's leaking. It's on
it's
fire.
okay.
Um, yeah, yeah. So, um, how good does it really look? And
Yeah.
a lot of times, Red, to your point, it's overcoming an objection before it even comes to the forefront of really being one, because
Mhm.
it's, oh, actually, as you can see, the paint's faded a little bit here. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing a little, a little paint job can't fix. When you get those things so immediately out of the way of being potential objections, um, down the road or down the sales process, it
Yeah.
becomes more of a conversation of overcoming some of their buying concerns, because they're less concerned about how it looks or how it sounds. It's more of, well, here's what I'm trying to do, and this is what I need to achieve. Is that the right piece of equipment? And
Mhm.
so your salespeople can now really get down to understanding, how can we best serve this customer? Because all of the other, you know, fluffy things that we have to deal with at the top of the funnel before we can have them come a little bit farther down have already been addressed.
Yeah. Yeah. People want the transparency. And listen, when I started in this industry, no joke, when it came to used, people were taking Polaroid pictures
I believe it.
and then putting them through inner office mail to our used team. And that was how you got a trade eval. It could be part of the off lease process. Um, but we didn't have mobile phones and good cameras to take. So, and we know that in material handling, we have to move our equipment around. So even though we have a team that's dedicated to reconditioning, that doesn't mean that the reconditioned lift stays in one particular city.
That's a great
So,
point.
you know what I mean? So, like, you can't invite
Yeah,
that customer in to see it, to touch
100
it, to
kilometers away.
sit
Yeah.
on it,
Yeah.
right? And it's like video has added something that, because we're never going to change that process. The equipment's always going to be around all of our different cities. But, you know,
Hmm.
the way we've always gotten around that is you deliver it and you have it almost for a couple of days, right? Just in case what we delivered isn't what we promised. But I'm with Michaela. I think you get rid of a lot of the initial concerns. And if we're willing to take that video, it almost pushes us to keep adding in that transparency. Oh, hey, by the way, right? Like you just start to be more comfortable with anything that isn't perfect on the truck. Um, Red in from the service side, like this is what originally excited me. And I know that it's really why material handling, some of the dealers have come to True Video. It was the service aspect of it before it
Hmm.
was sales, because the technicians are out there doing maintenance or repairs, and they see something that maybe isn't quite right, or they just want to point out that during the next service, this really needs to be addressed.
Mm.
And to
Hmm.
have the video to see pieces of a forklift that most of us aren't used to seeing has been helpful to get people to say yes quicker to approving those repairs. And that's been the real win for our
Hmm.
industry. Yeah.
And how are you tagging that to the equipment? Are you a serial number? What are you? Let's say a tech goes to a company with a fleet. Is he
Mm-hmm.
something wrong there, something wrong here, something wrong there? How are they tagging that particular video to that piece of equipment? Is there like somewhere to put a field to put the information?
Yes. So on the service side, we can categorize by work order number. So however you guys typically would categorize your work order internally would then be reflected within True Video. From the customer's perspective, you could have multiple work orders assigned to that fleet manager. Their experience on the other end will always be the same customer experience. It'll all come from the same number. They'll be texting back and forth, communicating regarding each of those trucks. But the service side will just be able to see the separation by the work order number itself.
Okay, so it's all organized like that. Look, it's probably my last question because I think we're taking
Yeah.
long because this is interesting.
It is.
Um,
I have so much fun talking about this stuff.
well, I can stay if you can stay 2 more hours, but um, aside from recorded video, can we do an interactive live video through the platform? Let's say I'm a used rep, my customer is 200 kilometers away. This is a used forklift, and he has some questions. Can you show me the tires, or is there a way for interactive live?
So no, we don't have live interaction through the
Okay.
platform. A lot of times what we've seen, Red, in the case that you just mentioned, is that video gets sent along and naturally additional questions come up where,
Hmm.
oh, great, thank you for the video. Can you send me one of the tires? I'd like to be able to see the tires a little bit more close up. And so you really ultimately begin to have a dialogue with your customer that allows them to have the insight into whatever it is that they're taking a look at. But again, it's more of that at your leisure experience. So that video could easily be shared with additional decision makers and it can be consumed multiple times.
Can you add more videos to that particular transaction,
Yes.
conversation? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
always. And I think the one thing I did want to add before we ended up jumping was, Lori, you had just made this point regarding getting more comfortable with the truck when it comes to the used trucks and some of
Yeah.
the just different nuances of each of the used vehicles. I think the other thing that happens, and I see this particularly with the forklift, with the Toyota forklift videos, is it also allows your teams to provide value in the service you're providing. So there
That's
was a
true.
video I saw recently that said, here's this used unit that you inquired about, but here's what it's going to look like after it goes through the Toyota reconditioning process. And this is what
Very
we do
nice. Mm-hmm.
to continue to serve you and ultimately to be able to be, you know, a longtime service customer, because this is the
Mm-hmm.
experience that you receive working with us. And so I think it ultimately becomes more than just eliminating the concerns. It also shows, wow, this is the experience that I get, because as a brand, you are truly elite, you know, from that
Yeah.
perspective. And it's important to be able to show the value that your sales and service teams really ultimately provide for your customers, both new and existing.
That's a
Mhm.
great point. I mean, can you imagine, Red, right? Like being able to get a video every so often of the truck going through the process, or
Yeah.
a really long shop job, right? And you're getting some updates.
So Lori, it's my time to interview you. Um,
This was not part of
so
the deal.
it's fine. So I was going to ask. So you've already worked with True Video. You know what they have, and can you like what are the instances, or which cases can True Video help our material handling industry aside from what you're utilizing them for? Can you like list them?
Can list a handful, which we've talked briefly about, which, you know, primarily on the service side, it's going to deal, I think, with either the planned maintenance pieces where we see things that are coming up that are going to need to be repaired soon, and we need to show that. So it's very rare for us to know exactly where our contact is, or even for the technician to know who the contact is, to be able to pull somebody aside, right? That's pretty rare to be like, hey, take a look at this.
Mhm,
So to be able to take the video while the tech is at the job, that's pretty priceless. And then you can send that video along with the estimate of whatever it's going to cost to do the repair. The other piece would be, I think, a lot of the sales stuff. So either showcasing what it is that we have available, or showcasing what's happening with that piece of equipment. People yearn for communication, right? Like we have a long shop job, we are waiting for something to be reconditioned, we're just waiting. And we're hoping to get a text or an email or a call,
mhm,
and we know that that doesn't happen
mhm.
consistently. So
Yeah.
I I'm with Michaela. This just adds a value add that most
Mhm.
other places aren't doing, and it's a quick touch point to set myself off a little
Yeah.
bit different.
So, just last question, Lori, before we
Okay.
go back to Michaela. So, in terms of like who in your company is using it, how are you utilizing it? What's the adoption looking like?
So adoption is going to vary by dealer
Mm-hmm,
and really even by department.
mm-hmm,
And the challenges that we ran into were less about the sales side. Because I think for the sales team to utilize video or even rental to a point, pretty easy. But we know from a service side, in dealing with repairs and work orders and things with the material handling industry, we all have processes of how, you know, what happens when the technician leaves, how is that communication coming back into the business system. So that adoption is going to be much tougher for the
mm-hmm,
dealership, because you have to say, well, here's what our processes are, and here's how video is going to work in those processes, whether
mm-hmm,
it's True Video's processes or just a video in general, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
um, but I think the potential to use it is everywhere. And then from a marketing standpoint, you're still able to record the videos and put them in almost like a general hub area, so that if you wanted to take the videos and put them into your social media or some sort of marketing pieces, you could do that as well. And those videos can be used by multiple people. Right? It's not just me getting to use them. I can allow other people to use them as well.
Mhm. Okay.
But I do think, Red, like if you guys decide to use it, or anybody, any of our fellow marketing dealers, is you should be really like kind of zone in on who's most excited about it
Mhm.
and really work with that particular group, right? So
Mhm.
Champions.
don't go in and say, okay, we have 200 techs, and no,
You guys are now all
zone
movie
in.
stars. You guys
Yeah.
are all taking selfies.
We like
Yeah.
the champion
Yeah.
approach on our end too. It gives us somebody to work with until you can start to let the positive
Yeah.
reinforcement seep out and people start catching wind and wanting to join
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
I can see some use for it, like based on what we talked about. So yeah, excited to explore what's out there. Lori, I guess if you wanna just close this interview
Yeah.
with the.
Well, I see that you have True Video's website up. So it's a great site to go visit, because true to their strategy, there's going to be videos on their site that really shows what it is that they offer. But more than anything, how can you make video work for your marketing? But Michaela, anything else that you want to add, or how people can reach out to you?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys again for having me. I hope I didn't ramble on too much. I get really excited about this stuff. um, and yeah, we can absolutely be reached directly through the website. My email is very easy. It's just Michaela, Michael with an A, at truevideo.com.
Oh,
All
awesome.
right.
So I guess we have to say bye for now. I think just a note. I think has been our longest episode so far, Michaela. That just
Oh,
tells you how
is that
this
my
is
fault?
like. No, no, no. It
No,
just tells you that this is
it's Red's
exciting.
fault.
That's my fault. I talk a lot, but it's just an interesting topic. So that is why. So we have to say bye for now. Um, Lori, I'm just gonna end with our most popular video clip. I'll see you on the
Oh,
next episode.
all right. I'll see you then, Red.